What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm here to give you guys my countdown of 2021, and my countdown will be the superhero movies of 2021. I'll be giving you guys my top 5, so of course, let's not waste any time, and let's get started. So, at my number 5, I have Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I think Venom 2 showed a nice, great pace from the beginning to the end, showing us a fast-paced start with a compelling story and also giving us more exploration into the Venom and Eddie Brock character and their relationship with one another. And I think the end credit scene was one of the best end credit scenes that the Sony universe has had to set up a more explored version of what they've been doing, where Eddie Brock ends up going into the MCU, where of course Peter Parker, Tom Holland's version of Peter Parker, ends up being revealed as Spider-Man as that kicks off from Far From Home. So that's why that's my number 5. So let's hop into my number 4. My number 4 is Suicide Squad. I think James Gunn did a very good job with making this movie and producing it from start to finish. I think everyone did a great job. Of course, I miss my boy Will Smith as Deadshot, but I think Idris Elba as Bloodsport ends up doing great in this movie. Of course, Margot Robbie did phenomenal and a beautiful job as Harley Quinn, and she had a way more credible spot in this movie than she has in any other movie that she's been a part of. John Cena did phenomenal as Peacemaker. He did so good where he ends up getting his own HBO Max series that I'll, of course, be giving you guys my review on. And then, of course, we had numerous other characters. I wish Pete Davidson showed himself a lot more and didn't get killed off so early. I was very excited to see how he was going to do. And then, of course, they killed off Captain Boomerang. For the ones who've seen the first Suicide Squad, those are the feels. But overall, it had phenomenal pace, compelling story, which was what was completely missing from the first Suicide Squad. It actually had a plot and a story that it went by, which made it on my top 5. Now it's time for me to head to number 3. Number 3, it is Shang Chi. Shang Chi did a beautiful job, and it is one of the best MCU movies that they've come out with since Endgame. Honestly, this showed me and gave me a full exploration in the Asian culture. It gave me a lot of Black Panther vibes when it dug into the African culture and to explore the character of T'Challa. Now, seeing that with Shang-Chi and the Asian culture and seeing them do that, I think the movie was beautiful. I think the soundtrack was fire. And honestly, it was one of my favorite movies of 2021. So at number 2, I think I'm going to get a lot of criticism for this one, but it's my opinion. At number 2, I have Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home was a beautiful movie that showed very, very crucial cameos from Charlie Cox as Daredevil, returning as Daredevil. We had ourselves Andrew Garfield return as the Amazing Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire return as Spider-Man, where this had great pace, picking right up off from Far From Home and giving us context not only for what happened after, but also to see what's going to happen in the future, where we see, of course, Doctor Strange and how the multiverse ends up breaking apart. And we have ourselves also the little hint of the fact that Nick Fury has been off-world for the past year, giving us a little taste of what is to come and might be to come for Secret Invasion that is supposed to be coming to Disney+. But overall, I think it gave a lot of emotion to the movie. Every fan and Marvel fan wanted this movie to happen. And what everyone was speculating that was going to happen, what the MCU usually does of doing the complete opposite and doing it way better, they gave us exactly what we wanted. Even from the small details of the argument of who was the better Spider-Man and Peter Parker, seeing Andrew Garfield come in the Spider-Man costume as everyone said he was the better Spider-Man. And of course, Tobey Maguire coming in his street clothes as everyone says he was the best Peter Parker. Overall, very, very good movie. Gave us a lot of details. And of course, the first end credit scene where Eddie Brock ends up going back to his universe, but we see the hint of Venom that is left behind. And then, of course, the Doctor Strange 2 trailer that looks like it might be the best movie of 2022, if I'm being 100% honest. But overall, it was my number 2, and let me tell you guys now, my number 1. So before I get to number 1, my honorable mention, I don't think many people will be surprised about this, it'll be Black Widow. Black Widow was a movie that people have been requesting ever since Black Widow. It was hit on the scene played by Scarlett Johansson. I'm sorry. But this movie was a very detailed story about her journey as the Widows. And of course, it gives the whole story and setup of her sister as well. The only reason why I didn't make the top 5, because it wasn't really much about Natasha. More if it was about, of course, her sister Yelena. And of course, the setup of Yelena was built perfectly to set her up for the Hawkeye series that ended up coming on later throughout the year. And of course, more of an intriguing story when it comes to her and Madam Hydra's whole entire thing and MO. And of course, the whole thing where she's building up a team, where she's gone to not only her, but now Mr. Agent USA from the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. So overall, it was really good at setting up for the future, but when it came down to the actual movie and the substance around it, it really didn't give us much. It was just a nice way for Scarlett Johansson to give a farewell as the character of Black Widow, but other than that, there wasn't really much spectacular about the movie. So, of course, let me hop into my number 1. Now, my number 1, before everyone decides to give me crap for it, I think this was a beautiful movie, no matter the length of the movie. Justice League Snyder Cut. It was an amazing movie, and it gave us a phenomenal story throughout the entire movie. When I look at movies, especially superhero movies, I look at every detail behind it. And for those who are movie fanatics, you will appreciate this movie. From the small details of the soundtrack throughout the entire movie to match the mood of the scene, and to the small details into the suits, into the characters, it showed you what it looked like to really have a beautiful movie all the way around. And the big thing that came from this is everyone felt important in this movie. Every single person had their own story and their own battles that they were going through. From Wonder Woman to Cyborg to Aquaman to, of course, Batman, Superman coming back, The Flash. And it was one of the best movies that I've seen superhero-wise. I said when I first saw this, if this would have came out instead of the first Justice League, then Marvel would have had a bigger problem. Even from seeing Steppenwolf and how Steppenwolf looked completely different from the first movie. His suit was phenomenal. It was the Black Panther suit on steroids. And just the amount of power level that Steppenwolf has as a henchman, and how they told that story as well was one of the most powerful things throughout the movie, and how it's set up for the future. And it had one of the best end credit scenes that I've ever seen, going to bringing back Mr. Jared Leto as the Joker, but in a way more compelling way to set up the Injustice storyline, as of course Batman has brought his gang together to go up against the Superman as he's turned on the Earth. So overall, that was my top 5. I know everyone's not gonna, agree with my top 5. Definitely let me know what yours was in the comments, things that you think I should change around. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to give you guys more coverage on anything superhero-wise throughout the year 2022. So until next time, I'm Kevin Jones. Peace.